G'day, folks. Ha! Oops. We got ourselves a. Hang on, I'm gonna lower the seat here, eh? Oops. I'm almost on the ground. We're gonna talk about e-bikes this morning. This do and don'ts about buying. Well, those of you that aren't in e-bikes, well, don't go away, because there may be something to be learned in this little video. Well, okay, first it's a kind of an acknowledgement that this really is the second e-bike that I built, one after the other. I was finished the first one, but it didn't quite pan out to be what I wanted it to be, so I built the second one. The reason why is that at the back here I had a rack, and this battery here was on top of the rack here, and it made the bike kind of top heavy, if you want to call it. So my son was here and he said, why don't you mount all that stuff in the center here? Well, you can do that, but these batteries, this is just a very flimsy protective case, and the controller, which is in here, has to be more or less put at, it's not waterproof, let's say. So I built a box, and there's a spare space in here, but we'll get to that eventually, I hope, if I don't forget. And then I put that in here, and you can see it's an enclosure. I have a few screws. Eventually I'll have, at the back here, I'll have a little tool bag, and I'll have a, maybe a metric Allen keys. These bikes, see, they're not normal stuff, they're metric Allen keys, a Phillips screwdriver, because this is hang on, I'm gonna open that. Okay, it's tight, I'll tell you that. And anyway, so I want to discuss the do's and don'ts. If you're buying a kit, what you're looking at, hang on, I'll back out of the way, the wheel, okay? First of all, the wattage of the wheel. If you just want to promenade around and to be legal in most places, like here where we live, here in Ottawa, 500 watt is the maximum you can have, or else you gotta get into insurance and license and whatever. So you gotta think of that, and you don't all need, like I seen there's a lot of 1,500 watt wheels, and even bigger than that, up to I think 3,000 watt. You don't need that. Like, you don't gotta go 60 or 70 miles an hour and one of these bikes, you're gonna break your neck. But anyways, and there's a lot when you're buying a kit, okay? The most important thing you're buying in that kit is the wheel, okay? Like, we'll get to the battery and the rest of this stuff, and the LCD controller, which is up there. And when you're buying the kit, you'll get a controller, you get either a thumb or a twist throttle. You won't get the battery. The battery is sold separately. You know why? Because it's probably as expensive as all the rest. So the battery is sold separately. There's some kits, okay, that sell the battery with the kit, but you end up at the same price because they just have the battery and the wheel, okay. Most of these are 26 inch. You get smaller and you can get bigger. I'm promenading around with my thinking. Okay, something I have to, and I took down the names in the kits, okay? My suggestion to you, okay, if you want to build a kit, for this year, I hate to tell you, but I think you're too late. But you may be having luck. You look if you order it, but I think there's a long waiting list now. You'll get it next autumn or something. But if you look at the kits, okay, they're, well, you want to find out the truth about these bikes, like the ones that you buy and the kits that you buy. There's some you'll pay $3,000 and you'll buy an e-bike that's already all set up. Well, there's brand names, okay? Go to the chat sites and see what people say about different, and you'll see the better ones. The names will come back. And the kits is the same thing. There's, I just wrote down a few here, and the name of this one, this wheel here, is because I didn't go to these chats. See, I learned the hard way, eh? That's why I'm in here making this video. The wheel, there's nothing wrong with the wheel, but everything else, it was worth, what it probably was worth what I paid for. But what's the use of buying something that you're not going to be happy with, eh? The main fabricator, I should say, of wheel, another thing too. There's back wheel drive, there's front wheel drive, and then there's mid drive, right around here. That's driving the chain, okay, to the back wheel. There's 3 different types of drives. The main one, Bafang, okay, B-A-F-A-N-G, Bafang. They're all made in China, by the way. But this is not a bash China thing today. I'm just going to explain to you. Okay, voila, V-O-I-L-A, voila, Mart, M-A-R-T, voila Mart. It's about what I see as the second name brand that you would want to look at, but do your own research. I don't want to be on the wall and you're throwing knives all around me. Eh? I'm just telling you from what I can see. Chongheng, T-O-N-G-S-H-E-N-G, Chongheng, okay? Now, this a controller. These are all parts that are expensive in these kits. The wheel's expensive. The controller is expensive. And all your paraphernalia. Your twist grip. And LCD screen. See this? It's not too big, eh? Anyways. That was part of the first kit I bought. You see, I told you that I didn't know when I first bought the first kit. And when I got it, tried to make sense of it, there's absolutely nothing that you can read on here that makes any sense to an English or a French person. It's all Chinese. Some say you get it translated. It doesn't matter. Because, I'll get closer. I gotta show you. See, like, these connectors here, eh? See here, this is a 3-pin connector. Well, small, eh? But it's green, red, black. This one's yellow, pink, brown, green, red, and black. There's some, this is black and blue and white. This is something else. Oh yeah, I know what this is. Okay, there. Now let me. I'm wandering again, eh? Okay. On the wheel, there's two different connections. There's the battery connections. See the bigger wires, and then there's the Hall sensor connections. Hall sensor is a transistor that senses a field effect from a magnet. Okay, this is your Hall sensors. No, yeah, that's that's the Hall sensors. Oh, this is the field of the bike, and these are the hey, I'm sorry. I have start over again. These are the motor connections, okay? These are the motor connections. This is battery. Motor connections. And these here, they're the small finicky ones. Here there's 5. The motor, this motor has, I think it's the, I forget there. Yellow. I don't know what color it is, but I know there's a thermal sensor in this wheel. That tells you it's a better wheel, maybe, because on my LCD up there, I can see the temperature of the wheel, and I know the ambient temperature outside on the LCD. But that's because I bought a kit afterwards. All this didn't come with this here. This and see, they're all this and this. See this here? It's got a. Okay, let me tell you a story about the wires. Hang on. Seems like I'm stuck in a bunch of stuff here. See, I even made my own wires shrink, and then I have this here has I've redid the pinning in here, in those connectors. If you're equipped, we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna make a video on the different tools you can get and how to make these multi-wire pins. Okay, this here, it's a okay. This has a Hall. There's a magnet, okay, and as you turn, it turns. It's out, and it's getting closer to the transistor. A transistor is a Hall effect transistor. So let me explain. The transistor has a negative hooked up to it, and then it's got a 5-volt positive hooked up to it, and you have this switch in here, okay, plus you have the LCD, LED that shows like your battery is full, half full, or empty, okay? There's a little circuit for that in here. But all these wires, okay, there's no instructions, no instructions for that. But there's generally, and black is negative, or some places they call it ground. Because they don't, I don't know, maybe in China they don't have a ground, or they don't recognize a ground. They call black ground, okay? Forget about green being ground, because that's not the case. Okay, I'm just going to go through this, and you're going to see that it's not for the faint of heart. Okay, black is ground or negative. Red usually is every company. There's nobody that has the same. There's nothing standardized in the colors. Okay, red should be positive power. Okay, 48 volt, but not here. You know what they have on this switch here? This switch powers the controller. Okay, so it sends full battery voltage to the controller. What goes on, it's between the yellow and I believe the green. No, it's the yellow and I think the yellow and the white. And then your LED lights is the green and the center tap, not the center, the signal from the transistor in here back to the controller is the blue. Now I believe I took this apart to find that out. I made myself a diagram, but now I don't know where the diagram is. But let me save you some time and grief, and see, that's all I parked today. Because I had the throttle. The throttle was working, okay, but this here, I couldn't. It was on, but I couldn't communicate with the controller. So I said, that's it. So I went on the chats. I was trying to find some information on these, and then I started reading. There's one company. You can find more, but there's one. Okay, it's called KT. Now this is my experience. You do your own. KT controllers and LCD displays and thumb or throttle controls, you can't go wrong. And usually they don't come with all the like you look at the plugs, and but if you have a KT controller and you buy a KT display, well, you can plug it in and it'll work. All the other companies, well, I can't say. And so you'll get experience as you go. But just because it's made in China doesn't mean it's all junk. I'm gonna have to take this part and bend it upwards so it'll hold. Okay, let me just see this yellow wire in here. Oh, that's right here. That there is hooked up to a switch. It's on the far side here. It's not a momentary. It's a on and off switch. And with that, in here, I'll install a solid state relay, and either I step down. See, this here is 48 volt, this battery. Either I step down to 12 volt or 8 volt, or I don't know yet. I could do that. You remember the buck controller I had for to charge the batteries there? If I could mount that buck controller in here, I'd have that solid state relay. I don't want to install something that's going to draw too much power out of here. Ooh, I'm into another topic here. Anyways, that's well, when I built this, I installed that switch because I don't want to be drilling in that box with all the wires all over the place. I said, I'm going to mount the switch, and then I built a little box, and then here I'm going to have, but we'll maybe make a video with this, the solid state relay, and either I mount the lights. Like right now I have just a reflector at the back, but this is not what this... I just wandered here again, eh? What this... Okay, batteries. There's two types of companies that build batteries. There's Samsung, Sony, I think. There's the Panasonics. The batteries, these here, they're, what are they? Same batteries. What did I, lithium battery, lithium ion batteries. And they're powerful. This here is 20 amp hours, so it'll keep it going for a good while. The charge wire is under the seat here. Where did I put it? Ah, right here. See that? Right there. That's the charger's on this there. I'll bring it in here if I want to charge it, but that's the charge plug. And so the battery controller, there's a bunch of connectors in here. There's a fusible. That's, I don't know, that's 30 amps. That's built for. But here it says spec 48 volt, 20 amps. So, yeah, they sold me 20 amp hour. That's what it is. Why do they have a 30 amp fuse if it's 20 amp hour? Anyways, yeah, KT controller. If you decide you don't want to go this route and you want to buy a bike already made, go to these chat sites and people will talk and you'll see there's some names that come back. There's some with problems. Like this has been going on. These e-bikes have been going on for 10 years now, and but everybody, there's not one way. Everybody's, and some people are building like, okay, if you want to, some people are building better ones than others. It's up to you to find which one is the better ones. If you want to build your own, okay, the things you want to consider, okay, is where are you going to put all your paraphernalia? Are you going to be wanting a front wheel drive, back wheel drive, or mid drive? One of the things too is to consider is where are you going to put your weight? They're on a back rack. There's some kits that there's a back rack here and you slide the battery in, and some people mount the controller right under here. It's about 3 inches wide in the front here. I had a bag, it's up there. It could be mounted there, but I didn't choose to do that. I chose to make a box, aluminum box, and have everything. Well, after I found that I wasn't happy with the weight at the back, is that what it does, the bike is heavy at the back. So you consider the most important thing to consider when you're choosing a bike frame is your brakes. What kind of brakes are you going to have? And my son told me, well, he wanted me to buy a mountain bike with a suspension. He says it's going to be a lot pushier. Yeah, but cheap, eh? I didn't want. I already had that. He gave me this one, so he even wanted. I had done the box here, eh? That was a few hours of work to build the box. Tractor Man 44 would have done this in about 5 minutes. But anyways, it's he was gonna buy me one, okay, a mountain bike with a suspension, but the back suspension, there was a cylinder in here, and there was cylinders on the front. I said, don't waste your money. I says, I'm not building another one. I said, this is good enough for me. First of all, I haven't gone out of the driveway yet with with this thing, eh? So, brakes. This, I don't know if you can see, there's two arms, and then the brake cable goes between the two arms, and this works, these brakes work good. A lot better than the ones that the cables split in the center and go down to each side. But that's the main thing, that the way, like if this frame was wide enough, I could mount a disc brake. I bought the kit, I bought the disc to mount on the wheels because there's a place on the wheel to mount it. But the frame here doesn't have a wide enough span for the disc to pass. It would have to be that big. That's too small. The front wheels, it's the same thing, but the front wheels would have enough space. But when you put the brakes on these things, you don't want all your brake in the front because you'll be face planted. You'll be seeing the asphalt from close. But if I looked on the net, I could probably find one on AliExpress there. Just a wheel with the adaptivity. Like you can't mount disc brake on a normal wheel. It has to have, I'm not going to show you, it has to have the accommodations for the disc, and these don't. This wheel does, but the frame at the back here doesn't. It would have to be flat. I could bend that, eh? I was telling my son about that. I was going to bend this open, eh? Like from here to the back and then this arm. I said, I can do that. I have the benders for that. He said, don't start mucking around with the frame. He says, you're going to weaken it and then the wheel's going to be crooked. That's true, eh? So I just left it alone. But, okay. Just to recap this whole thing, because we don't want to make it too long. We'll lose everybody before we get to that. If you want to build an e-bike, okay, go to these chat sites first. It's a kit. Go to these chat sites. Take a week, 2 weeks to research it. Okay, there's 5 or 6 good chat sites on the net, and read. And you'll find out the do's and don'ts. Don't go and buy anything. The first kit that you see, or the cheapest kit that you see. You buy the cheapest kit that you're gonna see. This wasn't the cheapest. I think it was the second cheapest, or okay. I was gonna close this off, but this wheel, it's something special. It's bigger than most, eh? You know why? It's because it's got permanent magnets in here, and there's no gearing. This is direct drive. Most wheels have planetary gears. Like there's 3 gears. The drive's in the center, and then you drive the outer side with the 3 smaller gears, and they're made out of nylon, and the lubrication goes flying. And then first thing you know, and I notice, like I hear a few going down the road here, and they're noisy, man. This here, not bad. It's still, like, I don't know, I didn't try it cruising down the boulevard yet, but that's coming. I'll be taking you guys with me, eh? On the inaugural run. Okay, so that's it. I'll get in here closer. That's it. I know it dragged on. I just want to make maybe people think and research before you buy. Cheap is not the best sometimes. Okay, friends, I had fun doing this. I sure hope you had fun watching. And if you're into buying a bike, well, don't do like me. Buy the good stuff first, then you'll be Bafang. That's, I think you can't, well, I shouldn't say that on here, but I think that's the company to go with. The KT controls, like the controller and the thumb or throttle and the LCD display there. KT, I think, is the ones to go there. Okay, folks, the better ones are still up ahead. Eh? Salute you all. Comments are welcome. And we'll see you in the next one.